Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. I got this doll from Kika Goods. You can watch my unboxing and review on my channel. By the way, you can get 10% off kikagoods.com with my promo code. Let's get started! First, remove the head and eyes. I'm going to make a mold out of these eyes using Oyumaru, which is a reusable molding compound. All of my supplies are listed in my BJD supplies list. The link is in the video description. Soften the compound by dipping into boiling water, and then form it into a rough rectangle. Be careful because it's hot. Heat it up again and press the eyes into the mold. I made 2 of these molds with another pair of eyes from a different doll. I popped the molds in the refrigerator for a few minutes so it can set. Then I took the eyes out. I used air-dry clay to make my new eye chips. I wrapped my clay in plastic wrap and put it inside a plastic bag so it doesn't dry out in storage. This clay was a bit hard, so I sprayed a tiny bit of water on it to soften it up. It's a little sticky at first, but eventually it turns into a soft lump like this. Press the clay into the molds and clean up the edges using a silicone-tipped tool. For anime-style eyes, I want the surface to be pretty flat, and the clear resin will make a dome on top. Let the clay dry and pop it out of the molds. I wanted to try different eye designs, so I made a bunch. I drew my eye design using Procreate and printed them out. I measured the original eye and printed out several different sizes to make sure I got the perfect fit. Now I'm going to cut out the ones that I'm going to use. Using gloss, medium, or Mod Podge, I glue the eyes onto the flat backs of the eye chips. Be sure to paint over the top of the paper to seal it, or else the resin can absorb into the paper and mess up your design. I have some iridescent pink paint that I'm brushing over the bottom of the eye to add some extra sparkle. I'm using some putty to attach the eyes to this aluminum foil sheet so they don't move around when I'm adding the clear resin. Add a small drop of UV resin on top of each eye. Then use a toothpick to spread it around and make sure it reaches all the way to the edge without spilling over. Put it under the UV lamp for 60 seconds to cure the resin. Add another drop of resin on top to create a slight dome effect and spread it out with a toothpick again if necessary. Then cure it again under the UV lamp. To make the eyes a bit more sturdy, I used a toothpick to add resin on the sides, and I also did the backs of each eye. Here's all the eyes that I made. Now let's get started painting the face. First, we're going to remove the old face paint. You're going to need some acetone and cotton pads. Soak the cotton pad in a little bit of acetone and wipe off the old face paint. Then rinse it with water and seal the blank face with a matte sealant. This will create a smooth, even surface for you to work on. First, we're going to sketch in the basic eye shape, but before we do that, add the eye chips so that you can get a good read for how you should draw the eye. Attach the eyes with some putty and move it into the position that you want. Use a watercolor pencil to draw the basic eyeliner shape. Don't add any small details like eyelashes yet. You can erase with a kneaded eraser. Again, all my supplies are in my Amazon supply list, which is in the video description below. I'm using a brown watercolor pencil to draw the crease of the eyelid. At this point, I'm adding the hair to check that everything looks right. Draw in the basic shape of the lips. I'm grinding up some chalk pastels to use for blush. I like using multiple colors so that I can blend them and get a variety of shades. I blend a soft orange color to do some basic contouring on the face shape first. Usually I'll get the sides of the face, the chin, and on the bridge of the nose. Oh yeah, and don't forget the ears! Now I'm using a cool toned pink for blush and eyeshadow. The makeup color depends on the design that I want. Her hair makes the face look very wide, so I'm blending her blush vertically to make her face appear longer. Now add some eyeshadow. Seal the face again with matte finish before moving on. Go over your sketch with paint. I decided to add a little bit more eyeshadow. I usually add a thin layer of white over the eyelid to make it look more 3D. Start painting the mouth details. I used a mix of paint and watercolor pencil to get a soft bottom eyeliner. You can get some really fine details in the mouth with a sharp watercolor pencil. I used a coral color to get some more shading in the lips, and a white to get some highlights around the lips. There are no sculpted lips on this head, so I'm using a mix of tan and white to get more dimension around the lip area, particularly above and below the lips. I usually pencil in my eyelashes so that I can get them even on both eyes. Then I add paint. I'm trying a different style of anime eyes, so I'm adding a lot of details within the eyeliner. I want the eyes to look really big, so I'm drawing slight fat deposits underneath her eye and accentuating the whites on the outer edges. I decided she needed some purple eyeshadow to match the gradient in her hair, so I'm adding it now with watercolor pencil. Painting some more highlights in the center of her eye to make it look like they're more open. I'm using a dotting tool to get highlights on her cheeks. Penciling in her eyebrows as the final touch on her face. Here's how her face looks with the eyes that I made. I really like how she turned out, but there's one last thing to do before assembling the doll. Her outfit shows a lot of her neck and shoulders, so I wanted to add blush to those areas. This will help blend the body with the shading on her head. If you don't do this, then the body looks very white and flat compared to the face. If your outfit covers the whole torso, then there's no need for you to do this step. But I always blush the hands because it makes them look more realistic. Here's how she looks, all finished. What do you guys think? I wanted to give her a really soft and sweet expression. Here's a before and after for you to compare. Hopefully this tutorial helped you. I have 2 more of these dolls from Kika Goods to unbox, and I'm planning to repaint their faces too, so check back later for those videos. Remember, you can get 10% off KikaGoods.com with my exclusive promo code. Thanks for watching!